from New York City, Riverdale, which is a neighborhood in the Bronx. I am Jewish, modern Orthodox. So if you ask me, I would say probably even most Jews do not know what my religion is. Sometimes I'm not even sure what my religion is. This is a school that has a huge Jewish community. You know, it's something like 23 or even more % Jewish. Of that, I'd say the Orthodox make up a tiny percentage of that. So on the one hand, you have a lot of contact with, you know, a tremendous amount of Jews of all types of stripes from all over the place, you know, independent of people of other faiths and religions. But there's still the sort of challenge of trying to create and maintain a community. I keep very strict kosher. And that means that I'm very limited in the things that I can eat. Now that gives me, you know, limited options on, say, campus if I want to, you know, eat. If I want to eat with my, you know, non-Jewish friends, right? I can come to them to the dining halls, but I'll have to eat cold cereal or salad or something like that. Alternatively, I can always get 3 hot meals a day, you know, down at the kosher kitchen, but that means that I'm limited in who I'm interacting with. On the one hand, people feel sorry for you because, you know, you can't eat with them. On the other hand, people sort of are, oftentimes I feel almost a little bit resentful because it's almost like they feel like I'm being sort of like snobbery and that, you know, I won't eat your food, I won't eat with you. And, you know, the truth is I think both of these things might, you know, be a little bit legitimate. When I'm like expressing my religion, I can't be doing this and speaking for, I don't even think, anybody else here. I feel like basically everybody has their own sort of unique religion, and that means that, you know, it takes a lot of effort for us really to understand, each other. But for people of faith, you know, especially at college where you know, there's so much interaction with people of other faiths, the chief method probably of communication of what your religion is just the way you live your life.
Yaron Schwartz, and I am a sophomore in Pearson. I am Jewish, and more specifically, I'm a conservative Jew. So 10 days, or maybe even like 8 days into my freshman year, and I went home for Rosh Hashanah, so I missed classes, which is also like a huge academic thing. This year I missed about 8 days of school. But I decided to stay home stay at Yale for Yom Kippur. And it was a Friday night, and on Yom Kippur, traditional Jews don't do anything. Really anything. You fast, you don't use electricity, you don't use lights. Literally, like, all you do is pray, not eat, and go to sleep, is what you do the entire day. And I went to services on Friday night. They were good. I went to something afterwards that Slivka Center provided. Came back to my floor, and there was a huge party happening. And it was probably the worst moment of my life. Because on the most religious day of the year for the Jewish people, and I was presented with such a conflict that 10 days into the school year, I had no idea how to socially manage. And there were 30 people in my hallway having a party, and I didn't know what to do. I went to my Froko, who didn't help me after I presented her the situation, and then I basically just went into my room and sat there for 2 hours, extremely frustrated and upset, and then eventually was able to fall asleep after a few hours.
If you could relive that, and maybe even your Froko could relive it, what would you like to have seen happen or unfold?
I obviously couldn't have expected people to know that it was Yom Kippur and not be having this party. Like, that's obviously not expected. But I do think that it was like completely, I couldn't have gone up to a group of 30 drunk freshmen and said, guess what guys, it's Yom Kippur, like, could you be a little respectful? Like, maybe it would have worked if it was a group of 3 people who were just making a lot of noise I could have gone up to. But I do think that my Froko didn't understand the extent of which I had nothing to do.
What the holiday meant.
What the holiday meant.
What the holy day meant.
Yeah, right. And that I couldn't just go back to my room and watch a movie and just like eat some snacks. It was really me alone, very much so for one of the first times in my life, I felt very isolated. And I considered calling home, like very much so to like talk to my parents about this, but that would have been like the worst thing I could have done. I would never have. And eventually I realized that like it wasn't worth it and that I would get over it. But I would have wished that my Froko would have understood more, because I do think that they could have gone upstairs and said something and not even have mentioned it, just been like, guys, can you stop partying? Because they're in full right to do that.
I'm a junior. I'm a psychology major. pre-med, yay. I'm in Trumbull College, and specifically I'm a Reform Jew, I guess.
And you're a leader with Hillel.
Yes, I'm one of the Hillel co-presidents, and also I'm the song leader for the Reform Havurah, which is the Reform prayer group on campus. People assume because we are such a large part of the population here that there's generally a lot of understanding of our culture and of the practices, not all of which I follow myself, but just as a representative of the general community. And it's a bit of a problem. You know, a lot of the professors are Jewish, but that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, there's still exams on Saturdays.
Right.
And so I think one issue is that people think anti-Semitism is gone, and it's really not. And you know, sometimes as a Reform Jew and as a woman, people don't always assume that my devotion to the community is so strong because I'm not doing it in such a traditional sense, but I'm doing it in more of a cultural and spiritual way. So I just hope people understand that that's just as legitimate. Actually, one thing is interesting is explaining the differences between the different types of Judaism, because a lot of people aren't aware that there are. The other thing is to understand that as a community we also have different views on things such as Israel and all sorts of things, moral issues, ethical issues, and it's to categorize you know, the community in one way, and I think this is of all faith communities. It's, you know, you have to be expecting that no two people are the same, and the stereotypes just don't fit.